Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Here we are on a Wednesday. There is no basement at the Alamo, but there is pickup lines with Ernie Zuniga, and I'm thrilled to be here today. Our guest will join us in just a few minutes, but we're back for another episode live here, just a stone's throw away from the Alamo, with pickup lines presented by Gamez Law. Fights. And, well, obviously, there was a famous fight here once upon a time, which we'll talk about in just a little bit. But it's great to have everybody here. A moment for our sponsors who are on the post here, who have been great supporters of this show. They obviously saw something in this and they liked it, and they said, you know what? Let's help him out. So I am eternally grateful to Mia's Mexican Grill there in Helotes at 1604 in Bandera. The next time you're hungry or you crave Mexican food, might I suggest you go there. And let me know when you go and tell me what you had. Some of you have done that, and I love hearing about your experiences there. The margaritas aren't bad either. And then Rudy's Flooring and Remodeling. Again, they've done work in my house a couple of times, and Rudy and his crew are fantastic. And so when you're ready to do that remodel or whatever that project is on that list that you have for your house, might I suggest Rudy and his crew, they will take very good care of you. Generations Federal Credit Union, again, they came on, and we're still working on our plan. We're going to do some exciting stuff together here in the coming weeks. Letty and Eve and the crew there at Generations have been amazing and very supportive, and so we'll be getting with them soon. And the Nonprofit Council, they were on 2 weeks ago with the big give and raised $5.5 million or something like that to help a bunch of nonprofits, and so they're on board with this as well. Okay, so without further ado, let me unlock the door. One time I didn't unlock the door and it was awkward for the guest. But here she is, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
No stranger to the camera.
No.
Emily Baucum is here.
It's so exciting to be with you, Ernie. I think you are the best ambassador for San Antonio. And I love pickup lines. I never get to watch it live because I'm working. But I get to watch it when I go home and follow with the comments. So I'm very honored to be here.
Well, she did not read that on a teleprompter. It was not scripted. Not that I know of, at least.
Just came out of my head.
Look at that.
Like a live shot.
Look at that. Like she's ad-libbing a live shot. The last time I saw you, well, no, we've seen each other since we left the TV station.
We had a very fun dinner with Tammy.
We did, with my much better half, Tammy. So it's great to have you here. But now, here we are, literally, like I said, outside the Alamo. And you've been here now how long?
Since late March. So I'm the public relations manager. I do a mix of press releases, video storytelling, pretty much anything that needs to be done that is communications, I have a hand in. I just started a podcast a month ago.
Love it.
Which is very exciting to really tell the stories of the Alamo in a longer form.
Well, listen, you're speaking my language because that's what this is all about. And you know this, I've always enjoyed the long form conversation, and it's like podcasts were made for this, or the Alamo. I mean, that kind of fits that. Because there's so many stories to tell.
There's so many stories here, and there's so much growth. We had an old TV friend here last week, Maria Villarreal.
Yes.
Who's now with ABC News. She used to be a News 4 troubleshooter.
Right.
And when she came to the Alamo last week, she said, wow, this is not the Alamo I grew up coming to. And that's how much it's changed. This building that we can see out the windshield, the Ralston Family Collection Center, it just opened in March, right before I started.
Right.
It's the first new building on the grounds of the Alamo in decades, and it has more than 500 artifacts on display, many for the first time, and a lot of them are from the Phil Collins collection. So that's definitely something I want to talk about, Phil Collins in the air tonight.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about that too because I was digging in my house, and I'm going to find it when I get home. Several years ago, I was here because I am a child of the 80s and grew up listening to Genesis and Phil Collins. And when I found out that he was such a fan is not the right, fanatic, like obsessed with the Alamo, I got to meet him here. I think it was across the street here somewhere one day. I have a picture at home that he even autographed and signed for me and everything. And I know he's retired. I don't think he plays with Genesis anymore. But for anybody who's seen his collection or knows about, I mean, it's remarkable.
This goes way back to his childhood. You know, you mentioned at the start, there's no basement at the Alamo.
Right.
That's obviously a Pee Wee Herman reference. And we found that pop culture as a way, like an entrance point, where if you may not be super into history, pop culture gets you there. And I've seen it happen with the Phil Collins collection because his pictures are up in the collection center as a big collector, and people will call, oh my gosh, Phil Collins.
Yeah.
But the way it started, he was a child in the 1950s growing up in the UK. And Walt Disney had a TV series called Davy Crockett.
Yes.
And Phil Collins says the other kids are outside playing, you know, soldiers or whatever, and he's playing Davy Crockett. He has this great photo of him as a young boy in a coonskin cap, dressed as Davy Crockett, and he just fell in love with the Alamo story. And then he obviously becomes a rock star.
Yes.
He travels the world. He said he got a break in an America tour, and he got to come to the Alamo for the first time. When he rounded the corner and saw it, took his breath away. And the collecting started later. His wife actually got him into it. She found a document at an auction that's in our collection center right now and bought it for him because she knew he was such a big Alamo buff. And then from there, he just really got the bug to start collecting. He worked with a lot of vendors just steps away on Houston Street. He went to auctions, and he's collected some amazing artifacts. We have many on display right now. There will be more in 2027 when a new visitor center museum opens across the street. But he donated in 2014 all of these artifacts worth more than $20 million to the state of Texas. I mean, it's jaw-dropping. And it's all kinds of things. Like I
remember a diorama.
Well, that's a little different.
Okay,
he did donate that. I'll get to that. But in terms of the actual artifacts, there's a Mexican cavalry helmet that's it's a work of art. And it's just amazing to think like a soldier actually wore that, because right now we would consider it just so beautiful. You wouldn't want to wear it and hurt it. It's got brass details on the side, a big plume in the colors of Mexico, the flag. He also has a lot of documents, and those are primary documents that are very important to us, because artifacts are amazing, but a document is, the way our historians describe it, is that's someone's actual thoughts leaving their brain and going onto paper, so you can really see where their mind was at. And the diorama you're talking about is a scene stealer in the collection center. It was constructed by an artist named Mark Lemon. And it's a recreation of what the battle print looked like, the battle footprint.
Right.
So people come to the Alamo, they think the church is the Alamo. Well,
right.
It's actually this whole block. So it really shows you, and it's got a light show that shines a spotlight on different parts of the battle. And then Phil Collins narrates the whole thing and tells you what's happening. It only lasts like a little less than 10 minutes, so you can comfortably stand there and listen to it. And it's just so cool, and his voice, to hear him narrate it.
I need to do it. I need to listen to that.
I think you know a girl who can get you in.
I think I have a contact. I'll have to reach out to her. How much of this did you already know when you took the job, and how much of it did you have to learn? I mean, how long did it take you to learn everything around here?
I knew that the Alamo plan was moving forward. As we know in the news and in San Antonio, it took a long time to get to this point. The Alamo Trust, Inc., that I work for, has an amazing executive director, Dr. Kate Rogers, who is the galvanizing force behind making this vision a reality. And I had heard about it, but when you are here and you really get to see it.
Right.
So the collection center is the first new building.
Yeah.
By next year, we're going to open Plaza de Valero. Okay. So the entire street is going to become a more pedestrian-friendly area with tables, a pavilion where we can have history talks and community gatherings. The Fiesta parades will still go down the street. Yeah, Mr. Fiesta here.
No, well, no, and that's important, because that you get the shot of the UT marching band or whatever going in front of the Alamo.
To the start of Fiesta with the Battle of Flowers. For sure. In 2025, we're going to have a 2-story education center, the Texas Cavaliers Education Center, on Alamo grounds. And I think that's really cool, because we have thousands of school-age children who come every year. And this will give them a starting point to their day. It'll give them a place to eat lunch. There's going to be age-appropriate activities for them, a STEAM lab, and then a distance learning lab. And I think that's really crucial, because every 4th and 7th grader in Texas studies Texas history.
For sure.
But geography, Texas is so big, not everyone's going to get here.
Right.
So this will bring the Alamo to them. And then in 2027, across the street from the Alamo will be the crown jewel of the Alamo plan, a world-class visitor center and museum, the largest galleries on the Texas Revolution. There will be a civil rights exhibit, because as we know, the Alamo has been such a central point in our city for so long. The Woolworth lunch counter that was across the street from the Alamo was among the first to be peacefully desegregated. And the lunch counter is now gone, but there is still the footprint of it in the floor. So we're going to have an exhibit about what that means to our city. And there's going to be a 4D theater where you can go in and you can experience the Alamo, the Battle of the Alamo in 4D. So when the cannons fire, your seats will shake, smoke will fill the room. So it's really going to be a site that we can all be proud of as San Antonians.
So pardon our dust right now, because it's a little, look outside.
There is construction.
It's a little bit of, but that's...
But if you have problems with accessibility, call us.
Yes.
We have a great tour coordinator who will make it happen for you. If you need a wheelchair, if you need special access, we can make it happen. I
must admit, and I don't get down here as often as I probably should or would like to, but there is, getting back to what you said about Phil Collins when you turn the corner, every time I do turn the corner or I see the shrine or the facade, and there is like a little like, oh, that's like a cool factor.
It doesn't get old. And it's really cool seeing how many people from not even outside the state, but outside the country visit San Antonio and come see the Alamo. And something I learned about Phil Collins last week, the Hyatt Regency is just a block away. And there's a room he used to stay in where you can see the Alamo from the room. And that's got to cost something, but I think that would be a really exciting experience. Maybe your anniversary, you can take Tammy.
We'll see. Yeah. Well, that's all fascinating stuff. Is there a particular part? I mean, I know the public can't see everything here at the Alamo, but that just a cool area or something that's kind of hidden from public view that you really like?
Not so much hidden. I think that people forget that the grounds are pretty large. The Convento courtyard outside the Lawn Barrack. The Lawn Barrack's considered possibly the oldest structure in Texas. It was when this was a Spanish mission where the priests lived. It was a convento. And in the Convento courtyard, there's this giant live oak tree. It was not here for the battle. It was moved in shortly after, but this tree is about 150 years old. It was kind of an experiment for this guy who wanted to see or prove, can you move a mature tree? So he moved it from, I believe, the Stubing Ranch north of town, and he moved it to the Alamo, and here it is, and people just love it. Brad Mahar from the Salvation Army, our friend Brad, he just had their big annual event, the bowling event.
Celebrity bowling event, yes.
He brought, late on a Sunday night, cousin Hillary Banks from the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yes.
And he said she loved the tree, and he wanted to know, do we have any more information about it? Well, I just put together a video with one of our researchers, Thomas Ledesma, about the tree. So he was going to send it to cousin Hillary because she loved the tree so much. Yes,
she was a participant, because I was at that event for the Salvation Army. So then you get the heads up when a celebrity or a dignitary wants to...
This is the biggest surprise I've had. Some of it's planned, but mostly people show up. Last week we had the bass player from Guns N' Roses. I think he was staying nearby before their concert at the Dome, and he's a big history buff.
Yeah.
And he got to see some really cool things behind the scenes. But he came with his wife, and they are both into history. And he told me, I just finished reading this 400-page book on immigration on the Lower East Side of Manhattan.
Guns N' Roses bass player.
We've had Billy Gibbons from ZZ Top. We had Wemby here a few Sundays ago.
I saw that.
Very exciting. He was on his little tour of downtown and Southtown.
Right.
And he only stayed for a few minutes, but he spoke with a couple of the Alamo Rangers who just said he was awesome. And, it's just... The church is pretty tall, but him with that cowboy hat and the perspective in the photo, it was just like, wow. We're very happy to have Wemby come visit the Alamo.
But the door frames in the Alamo were not built for a 7'5"
They
tall.
probably were not. He did not go inside. He didn't. Okay. There was a crowd starting to form.
Yeah.
The guy can't go anywhere now without a crowd.
He can't.
But we'd love to give him an inside look, but he would have to duck.
He would many times over. So I asked Emily if she could sneak, a Bowie knife or Davy Crockett's.
He wanted a cannonball.
I said you can just let's borrow a relic just for a few,
I have to make clear, these are not from the Alamo. Okay. But if you come to the Alamo, these are the types of things you will see in the new Ralston Family Collection Center. So let's start with this one. I'll let Ernie hold it up.
Wow.
That's a cannonball.
What?
The
sucker is legit. How heavy is this thing?
Our senior historian and researcher, Colby Lanham, dug it out of the ground in Germany. How old do you think that is, Ernie?
120 years old.
No. 1634.
1630.
It's 3 pounds.
400.
It's made out of iron, but like I said, it's from Germany. It's not from the Alamo, but here is the Alamo connection.
Okay.
It was made by the Swedes.
All right.
Swedish cannons were used at the Battle of the Alamo.
Aha.
So the Spanish, obviously, before this became part of Mexico,
Sucker's heavy.
the Spanish were, this was New Spain.
Yes.
So the Spanish brought over military artillery, including cannons from Europe, and the Swedes were apparently big cannon makers.
Okay.
So that's the connection. Not from the Alamo.
No, but I mean, anything on the receiving end of this, good luck.
Well then, how about this?
What do you have?
6 pounds.
What? Hold on. Oh.
And again, our senior
I need to work
historian and researcher Colby Lanham dug these out of the ground in Germany.
Oh.
He was on a project out there
Shot put.
where they allowed him to use a metal detector on
Nice.
their battlegrounds. This is from 1793, from a Napoleonic battle.
Give me one more look at this. 1793. Again, good luck. Good luck if any building or person was on the receiving end of this.
If it comes hurtling towards you, and that's something interesting Colby has said. I just interviewed him for the Alamo podcast on artillery, and his episode came out last week. You can find it at thealamo.org if you're interested in cannons and weapons. And he said he's been in the United States military, and cannonballs freak him out more than anything.
I can see why.
You can see them coming.
Yeah, imagine well, I mean, I'm not doing it justice, but this sucker coming at you, yeah.
Yes.
That is super cool.
And these are made of iron.
Yep. Not styrofoam. Or pretty cool. Thank you for bringing that.
Of course.
Good stuff. Okay. Pickup lines presented by Gamez, a law firm with Emily Baucum, who, of course, as we've said, is now at the Alamo Trust. But I'd be remiss if I didn't mention your previous career. And so I wonder, because you and I have the commonality now of having left, coincidentally, the same place. And so here we are in the next chapters of our lives.
Yes.
How are you reflecting back on your time on the air and that part of your life?
That's a great question. I spent half my life working in newsrooms.
Yeah.
And so it's very hard to leave newsrooms behind. It's all I knew. But I love working at the Alamo. It combines all the things I'm interested in: history, museums, community. You know this from my trips over the years.
Yeah.
Every time I go out of town, I find at least one museum to go to. So this was a really natural fit, especially being a native San Antonian.
Right.
And I am not the descendant of someone from the battle, but I'm a descendant of someone from the Revolution era.
Cool. Okay.
So my roots in Texas go way back. So this was a very natural fit. But newsroom life will always still be with you. And some of my best friends are still in the newsroom.
Yeah.
Yami, Darian, Jordan, Jay.
What up?
I was texting with all of them earlier. Yami is very interested in the Alamo cat, Bella.
Yes, the Alamo cat.
So I send her regular Bella photos because Bella's in the office with me. But yeah, life after news has been really good. And I'm very proud of my news career. I feel like I accomplished a lot of goals. I feel like we got the community through some very hard times, and you take those times home with you, whether it's Hurricane Harvey, Sutherland Springs, Uvalde. And it does weigh on you after a while, but it's an important responsibility to get things right in those situations. And one of the things I've always been proud of is that so many of you come up to me at HEB, even at the Alamo grounds still, and say, when you came on, I knew there would be meat to the story. And to me, that's just the biggest compliment.
Yeah.
Because I actually was afraid of going on camera at first.
Really?
My first 6 or 7 news stories in college, I was not on camera. It took me a while to build up to that. My goal was always, did you learn something from my story? So it kind of took me a bit. I knew I wanted to do TV because I love the melding, the mesh of images and words.
The visual
storytelling with the verbal.
Yeah.
But I had to, move up to going on camera.
Got it. I'm sure the Alamo would never want to lose you, but would you ever consider going back if the opportunity came?
Perhaps, but I am really wanting to see the Alamo plan through. Like I said, the Visitor Center and Museum opens in 2027.
Okay.
And I already feel so much a part of the project. It's what I've been working on day in and day out, that I want to see that through.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's, I can completely understand and appreciate that answer. But you're right, it's the people. A lot of them have been messaging us or following on social media and excited that you were coming on today. And,
that's so nice.
That's the one thing.
And like I've forgotten, so like Delane, you had Delane on a few weeks ago. I love right Delane. I keep in touch with Randy Beamer. I mean, everyone is so, like, such good friends. They always have your back if you need them. Yeah. And that's a really nice thing about newsroom life. But I want to brag about you for a second.
Oh, wait a minute.
So the first time I anchored Fox News First,
yes,
I was in Port Aransas for a long weekend. And I got a text from our former news director, Mandy Mendoza, saying, do you want to anchor Fox News First in the morning? And I said, yeah, I'm driving back from Port Aransas tonight. I'll set my alarm early. And I was a little nervous because I'd never anchored a 4-hour show before.
Right.
And you looked at me beforehand and you said, you're going to have a whole resume tape by the time this show's over because you do a little bit of everything. And you were right. And I've always been so grateful that you and Brianna, who I still text all the time, I was texting with her yesterday, are such giving co-anchors. Like the times I filled in for you and I would co-anchor with Brianna, I would always forget that the traffic segment was coming up. There's a point early in the like 5 a.m. and 6 a.m. where the anchors do traffic. Yeah. And I would always forget. And Brianna would just give me a slight nudge that it was my turn. And it was just so nice of her. So
I mean, we always try to have each other's back because I would tell people, I think you gotta be a little crazy to want to work those hours. And, you know, Fox was it still is the only station in town that does that behemoth 4-hour block.
Yes.
One time.
And it is a behemoth for sure.
No, and I tell people, I mean, I still maintain that you'll get an entire resume tape or reel as the kids call it now.
They don't use VHS tapes.
Why? They don't use beta VHS? Because you're going to go through funny, you're going to go through serious, you're going to do weather and traffic
breaking
and
news.
Live and breaking news.
Yeah.
All in one morning.
No, it was a great experience. You'll know that I don't love the early morning hours, but you made it so much better. Where I knew if I was going to be with you and Brad or you and Siobhan, it was going to be fun.
Yeah. No, we tried. We tried to have a good time with it. So, so that's really exciting. So, back to the Alamo now. Are you here on the grounds like 5 days a week? Or where is your office?
Our office is a couple blocks away. It used to be right across the street from the Alamo. We've moved out because, like I said, that is going to be the visitor center and museum, and we want construction to start on time. So we're about a block or two away. I'm getting my steps in. I think once it cools down, it'll be a more enjoyable walk, but I love the walk. I love walking.
Well, that's coming like tomorrow apparently
I hope
or something.
So.
There's a cold front.
Let's call Brad Souter.
I don't see it yet.
I'm waiting on this cool front. But I love being on the grounds, and I think that's something that goes hand in hand with my news career. I was in the field so much. You know, I did general assignment, I did breaking news, I went to the border, I went, you know, all the way to an aircraft carrier in the Atlantic Ocean for that job. So I like being where all the hustle and bustle is. So I'm encouraged, like not just allowed, but encouraged. Like if you're at a stopping point in your day, if you have a few minutes, go walk the grounds, go see what's new. I stopped to talk to tourists. I talked to a family from Redding, California this morning. And I like that. I like getting out and about.
Right. Oh, COVID reminded me when that happened, when it all was all taken away, like how you take that for granted, you know, just the conversations with people and, you know, or being within 6 feet of a person, you know.
Well, the Alamo is not dissimilar from a newsroom where there are people working 7 days a week. The Alamo's open every day but Christmas Day. So there are always people here. There are always tour guides, you know, doing their tours. The church is open 7 days a week. So there's always activity here. Yeah. So it feels like a newsroom in that way.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't, tell me if I'm wrong, but there's so many cool places to, I don't know if you pack your own lunch or just go grab lunch around here.
I do pack my own lunch because I'm constantly trying to eat healthy. But there are some really great places. Our office likes to go do team lunches at Shiloh's, you know, the oldest restaurant in San Antonio. It's very good. I have not been to Voodoo Donut, but it is very close. There's
I've heard
a whole bunch of great places. Poblanos that used to be by San Fernando.
Yes, right.
And I used to go to whenever I covered a big trial at the courthouse. It's now down by the Majestic Theater. You know me and my Starbucks.
I do.
So
I do.
I'm now
You love
known...
the theater, by the way.
Yeah.
I will say, I don't know if that, my sister might be an exception, but that you love the theater, the Majestic.
I love the Majestic Theater. It's one of my favorite buildings in San Antonio. I love musical theater. It's a nice escape from life. It's one of the few places in the world at this point where I feel like you have to put your cell phone away. And that's
rare.
And I realize I'm saying this to a cell phone.
Excuse me.
On Facebook Live.
Well,
but
we're not going to put this one away yet.
No.
But
I really enjoy just going and immersing yourself for a few hours in a story. I like when you're a live performer, like, you know this from being on, how many hours have you done of live television? You added it up a couple of months ago.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
There are no
thousands.
second chances. You keep going. And I really respect that. I'm going to give a shout out to local theater.
Yes.
Because I do support community theater. I recently went to a show of Into the Woods at the Wonder Theater. That's previously known as the Woodlawn Theater.
Sure.
They're going to be moving out of the historic Woodlawn Theater and moving to Wonderland Mall.
Okay.
Crossroads for all of us old school kids.
Yeah.
And unbeknownst to us, there was a giant storm outside, but we have no idea what's happening. No idea. We're just immersed in this show. They're in their finale, and the lights go off for several seconds, and they keep, singing the big finale. The lights come back on, but it killed their audio system.
Oh, no.
Well, they keep going, and then as they were taking their bows, the lights go off in the whole theater. And we have no idea what's happening, because we've been inside for 3-4 hours at this point. So everyone, figures out we just need to get to the front of the theater. Everyone was very orderly and helpful to people who had accessibility needs.
Yeah.
We get to Fredericksburg Road, and it is thundering and lightning. So the theater took a lightning hit, literally.
Goodness gracious.
And they kept going, because you can't stop when you are live. If I love movie actors and people like that, but they can do another take.
They can get a retake.
Yeah.
No, you're sorry, and we could bore you with stories all day long about times when things went sideways in a TV studio, and
yes, you just have to keep going.
But
that's a good life lesson.
No, you're right. It's like a microcosm for life, right? When the teleprompter goes out, or the microphone battery dies, or you forget to turn your microphone back on when you went to the bathroom. The last thing I wanted to ask you was just you mentioned pop culture references earlier, and because I grew up, again, a big Pee Wee Herman fan, when he passed away recently, I mean, it wasn't just an ordinary day. I mean, you guys took time to acknowledge it, and for all the jokes and everything. I mean, like that Pee Wee's Big Adventure, and I think he just spent a few hours shooting the scene in San Antonio.
It was very quick. Obviously, I don't think I was alive when they shot that, to
85 or 84 or something like that.
I was born in 86, but I've seen it. He pretty much just ran in.
That's what I heard.
And then the interiors that are at the Alamo were shot in California.
Yeah, that's not the Alamo.
It's not the Alamo.
It's just the exterior shot on the grass.
Yes.
You can't even run on that grass anymore, right?
No.
But that's crazy.
But people do come every single day and ask, "Oh, where's the basement?"
Like they're the first person to ever say that.
Yes. And it took me maybe 2-3 days working here to figure out. That's going to be asked of me every day.
Every day.
My social media every day, because I'm still maintaining my social media accounts from news. The Alamo social media, it gets asked every day. The tour guides get asked nonstop. So it is a part of, just the pop culture lore of the Alamo. And you have to embrace it at a certain point.
Right.
Because it does get people in the door, and then they learn about the history, which is the most important part. And Paul Reubens had been back to the Alamo at a certain point. And, he celebrated it. So it was fun to put that out there on social media and see the response people got. People said it moved them to tears.
No, I remember. I mean, I saw it myself, and I thought, because, again, a lot of people just thought, oh, it's a joke, a silly joke, ha, 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 no basement.
People took it very seriously and were very moved by it. And it's the most popular social media posts in the Alamo's history.
It has to be. I mean, I would think
But just to set the record straight, there is no basement in the Alamo.
Right.
There is one in the gift shop.
Yes.
However, it's not for the public. It's more like gift shop warehouse kind of thing.
Storage.
Their inventory, their storage.
I love it. Well, it seems like you're in a really good place.
I am. I'm very happy. Yeah, it's good to be happy. It's good to see you happy.
I am happy. I'm dealing with, I've got allergies going on,
Well,
so
it is
forgive
South
me for
Texas.
But and the cold front coming in soon, I may bring in more of that. But
I was thinking today, because you said we're going to start at noon. That used to be the end of your day.
Used to be the end of my day.
Noon was like
Right.
out the door, going to pick up the kids.
But now I stay up past 8 o'clock at night.
Well, that was something from when we had dinner a couple of months ago. It was a Thursday, I want to say.
Yeah, it was a weeknight. Yeah.
And we would have never been able to have dinner on a Thursday night before.
No, it would have been a 4 o'clock dinner.
Yes.
4 o'clock late lunch or early dinner, and then I'd be looking at my watch like, oh, I got to go to bed. I'm only going to get 7 hours of sleep. Okay, now I'm going to get 6.5 hours of sleep.
But I do want to thank you for everything you've done for San Antonio.
Oh my gosh.
Driving your car around with pickup lines and spotlighting places like the Alamo or Delaine's real estate and her daughter's cancer journey.
Yeah.
I think that it's really important to see the fabric of this city. And sometimes it's happy and sometimes it's not.
No, but I always maintain everybody has a story.
Yes.
Whether you spent many years doing TV news or you're somebody who is not a household name that might be watching this right now, all of you have a story or this moment in your life. We call it an aha moment sometimes, or something happened that you pivoted and went in another direction, or something happened. I believe everything happens for a reason, and like I said, I believe everybody has a story, and so I'm hoping my goal with this show, this production, is to bring out that and highlight some of those things. And this is as good as I knew it was going to be, if not better. And the cannonballs were heavier than I expected.
Oh my gosh, we have to show the cannonballs.
We'll
one
leave
more
you with
time.
this and a reminder.
Again,
that
not from the Alamo,
No.
but if you come to the Alamo, you can see things like this.
From what years?
The 1600s and 1700s.
Out of here.
Our senior researcher and historian, Colby Lanham, dug these out of the ground in Germany.
Okay.
And brought them home.
Yeah. So I'm going to go do a bicep workout when I get home and work on this. But it is so, unbelievably great to see you.
You
to
too.
see that you're happy.
Always good to see you.
And what a win for the Alamo to bring you on board and everything.
Thank you.
And you'll be a great person to kind of hold our hand through the next 5 years while all of this stuff is being built and everything. So
we're going to keep people posted. You can find me
right.
on Facebook, Twitter /X, Instagram, Emily Baucum. And I can answer any questions you have. And every day I'm trying to spotlight different things from around the Alamo grounds to bring history to you. And if you want help setting up a tour, the inbox is open.
Love it.
We'll get you settled.
Emily Baucum, ladies and gentlemen, never disappoints. Never disappoints. Thank you so much.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you. All right, so there you have it. Another episode of Pickup Lines presented by Gamez Law Firm. Another live episode coming very soon. Don't forget to share the video. And thank you for supporting Pickup Lines. Until next time, bye-bye.